Hello, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome back to our Monday Live session again. After a long break over the Christmas, New Year, and back-to-back ICF Dubai and ICF India. So once again, we are welcoming you our Monday Live session. For every time, today we have also one prestigious university with us. Before I'm going to invite them. So as like the other session, you can ask your question through the commenting in our any social media in Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, or any social media. You can ask directly in the WhatsApp as well. So it's your session. You can ask your question, how you can process the application to the university. We are talking about the University of Reading, one of the prestigious universities in the UK, and regarding anything regarding the University of Reading, like application process, your desired subject, next upcoming intake, scholarships, and so many things. So without any further ado, let's welcome our today's distinguished guests one by one. Let's first welcome Miss Franki Hunt from University of Reading. Welcome to our show. And Miss Vaishali Darbar, Senior Manager from Henley Business School, and Miss Sarah from West Africa part. And last not but the least, Miss Zahidul, our CEO from Shabuj Global Education. Welcome to our live session today.
Hello, it's great to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, thank you, yes, for your nice introduction as always. And also, Sarah, thank you for joining with us today. And we are very happy to have Franki with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, yes, as we do every Monday, we are bringing one of the renowned university, and we open it for our prospective students globally. So student, their parents or decision maker, they can ask questions about the university's scholarship entry requirement, so on. And this is also very good opportunity for the university partners where they can promote university courses and all other facilities they can share with the universities, with the students. So this is a platform that we are trying to connect between university and students, their parents, where they can talk to each other, they can raise questions, they can get their answer. So thank you again. So how it will work, today we will cover UK International, South Asia, a part of Middle East and African region, obviously. And so I will invite Franki and your team to initiate with the presentation. So how we'll we'll take 60 minutes time, plus minus 10 minutes. So initially you can go ahead with the presentation where you can cover university courses, entry requirement, scholarship, and some other facilities that you think you need to add. And during this time, this is open through LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and our student and prospective students and their parents, or the decision maker. They can ask questions. You can give all the questions, and after the presentation, then we can go ahead with selected questions with the answers. So thank you, Franki, and your team. Go ahead with the presentation.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so again, thank you for having us today. My name is Franki Hunt, and I'm one of the senior regional managers in the global student recruitment team here at the University of Reading. So me and my team, our job is to help guide prospective students, their parents, their supporters, and really give you all the information that you need about the University of Reading to make any decision with regards to your application. Also joined by my colleague, Vaishali Darbar from Henley Business School, and also one of my colleagues from West Africa, Sarah. I'll probably let you guys introduce yourselves a little bit later on. So Vaishali's also going to give a short presentation on the business school and specifically the business school postgraduate portfolio. So if you don't know much about the University of Reading, hopefully this will be useful to you. But even if you've heard of us before, hopefully this will also give you some new information to take away. Well, I always like to start with is that the University of Reading has been in the top 20% of world institutions for the last 10 years. And we've been in the QS World Top 200 for the last couple of years as well. We are quite an old university, so we were originally founded as a University of Oxford Extension College in 1898, and then we became the University of Reading in 1926. So we're coming up on our 100-year centenary celebrations in the next year. We're also continually investing in our campus. You can see our brand new library facility here that was refurbished several years ago. But we've actually spent just over 500 million investing in our campus and our facilities since 2016. We are quite a green campus, so you can see part of it here. You can see White Knights Lake, you can see Foxhill House, which is the red building at the bottom of the screen, and also some of our central campus facilities in that quad towards the top. But we are an award-winning campus, and we've won what's called the Green Flag Award as being one of the best university green spaces in the UK for the last 14 years. The campus itself used to be a country estate that belonged to a member of English nobility, means that we've got a lot of beautiful facilities on campus. We have several manor houses, we have the lake you can see there, we have a botanical gardens that's on site as well, and a lot of green open space and woodland and wildlife for our students to enjoy. On the other side of things, we're also only 30 minutes away from central London by train, very close to international airports, and we have that very close proximity and direct rail connection to the capital for those students wanting to visit or take advantage of any of the work or internship opportunities that you can get in the capital. We've also been voted Sustainable University of the Year for 2025, and we're very proud of the climate credentials that we have here at the university. We have a lot of areas of excellence that focus particularly on climate and sustainability, but we also like to reflect this in the work the university does. We don't invest in fossil fuels. We are looking to become carbon neutral within the next few years, and we try to encourage a lot of sustainability initiatives as part of campus life. So always opportunities to get involved with that if you'd like to, as part of our university community. In terms of our campuses, we have 3 main campuses, but also a Henley Business School campus that's based in South Africa, mainly focused on MBA and our executive education programs. But the main campuses that most of our students tend to encounter are our White Knights campus that I discussed before. That's the main campus of the university with all of our central facilities and the vast majority of our programs. We also have London Road campus, that is the historic campus of the University of Reading. So this was our original campus, mostly now has the Great Hall where students will graduate, or perhaps it's some of their examinations. But if you're in our Institute of Education or our School of Architecture, then you'll also be based down on our London Road campus. But they are quite close together, only about a 15 to 20 minute walk between the two if you do find that you have lectures in both locations. We do also have a campus that's based in Johor Bahru in Malaysia, and some students looking at undergraduate programs, specifically those mainly in business, some of our kind of quantity surveying law programs, psychology, that's based out of Johor Bahru. So you might choose to do, for example, a few years in the Malaysia campus and then transfer across to our UK campus. And that can be a lower cost, more affordable option for some students or for students looking to have a bit more of an international experience while they're studying with us. In terms of our location in the UK, obviously I've mentioned our proximity to London, and the fastest train is actually about 23 minutes at this point. We're also linked up to the London Underground tube network through the Elizabeth line, so you can get all the way across to East London on one train if you'd like to. We're also very close to those London airports, so there's a direct bus link which takes about 45 minutes that will take you to London Heathrow International Airport, and you can get a direct train that takes about 1.5 hours that will take you to London Gatwick International Airport as well. This means that because we're such a central hub, we've got a big train station, students can get to other parts of the UK quite easily as well. You can get to Birmingham in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. You can get to Manchester in about 4.5 hours, down to the South Coast in about 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. And you can actually get a direct train all the way up to Scotland if you'd like to as well. In terms of Reading itself, we are a core regional hub for culture, shopping and recreation. There is a lot to do in the Reading area. It is a very socially and culturally diverse place. I think where last time I checked, it was about 60% white British, about 70% white in general. It means that there are a lot of ethnic minorities in this area, and it means that you can access a lot of culture and faith facilities. As part of living in the local Reading area, it's quite easy to get different food in supermarkets. You can access a lot of places of worship, access a lot of hair and beauty salons. There are lots of different things available to you in this local area. It's also Reading Festival here. So Reading Festival is one of the largest music festivals in the UK. only second to Glastonbury. Have about 100,000 people come a day to Reading Festival over that August national holiday weekend at the end of the month. And we have a lot of big multinational, international artists that come and perform there. So some students like to go there at the end of their examination period to celebrate with their friends. Got a lot of shopping that's available here. We have the Oracle Shopping Centre that's based in Reading, which is a large mall. Lots of museum and art galleries, independent cinemas, independent theatres, lots of different sports facilities that are accessible. And we are surrounded by quite a large amount of green, beautiful countryside as well. In terms of links with industry, Reading does have a very high employability rate, and this is in part due to the large amount of industry that's based nearby. So we are in what we call the Thames Valley in the UK, which is a bit like the Silicon Valley in the US, in that we have a large amount of blue chip and technology companies that are based nearby. So we have the UK headquarters of Microsoft that are based in Reading. The UK headquarters of Oracle is based in Reading. And you can see on this graphic here, there are a lot of other big multinational companies like Prudential, KPMG, Huawei, Ericsson, Cisco, and some of the big pharmaceutical companies as well, like Johnson & Johnson, GSK. And for those more interested in the arts, we also have the fairly newly open Shinfield Studios, where they shoot quite a large amount of blockbusters, like some of the new Star Wars was filmed there, for example. But this does create a large amount of internship opportunities, employment opportunities, all based within the local Reading area, both through these very large companies, but also small to medium-sized enterprises and startups that are in the local Reading area as well. So I skipped the slide there. In terms of university highlights, I mentioned that we've been in the top 20% of world institutions for the last 10 years. But this year we were ranked 172nd in the world and 25th in the UK as well. So I mentioned our sustainability credentials already, but I wanted to talk a little bit about research as well. So nearly 100% of our research was ranked as being of international standard in the most recent Research Excellence Framework in 2021. And we also won 5 Queen's Anniversary Prizes for higher education. So these are to symbol research excellence areas in the UK. So we've won this twice for meteorology and climate sciences. We've won it for English literature, specifically Shakespeare studies. We've won it for archaeology as well. So lots of different research areas of excellence. And I know that Vaishali will talk a bit about research excellence in Henley Business School a bit later as well. In terms of the size of the university, we've got quite a big university. We've got more than 27,500 students in total, and about 4,500 of those are international students from over 160 different countries. In fact, our first international student actually came to us to study agriculture from Kenya in 1908. So we've got a very long history of welcoming African students to the university too. In terms of our subject areas in the UK, we offer most, traditional academic subject areas, with the main exceptions being engineering and medical studies. We don't have a medicine school, for example, so we don't offer nursing, medicine, and we don't offer veterinary sciences or the vast majority of engineering courses, apart from biomedical. But you can see that we offer most traditional academic subject areas here. In terms of subject facilities and highlights, I won't go through everything on this slide because it is quite a lot to process, but hopefully you can see through this that we're in the UK top 20 for a large amount of popular areas like agriculture and forestry, art and design, marketing, linguistics, archaeology. And I put a couple of highlights on the right-hand side here, but I'll go into some of these in a bit more detail over the next couple of slides. So what I wanted to do is bring to light some of our the subject areas of excellence at the university. And one of these is our School of Agriculture, Policy and Development. So we're third in the UK for agriculture, according to the QS World Rankings, but also 27th in the world for our agriculture-related courses. A lot of this is related to GIDE, which is our graduate institute, looking after our postgraduate agriculture, international development programs. And we usually have about 100 students that join us each year from about 20 to 30 different countries as well. So it is a very multicultural cohort that come and study at the university. What a lot of people don't know about the university is that we have a number of different working farm facilities where students can get practical experience and also run experiments as part of their studies. So I've highlighted a few here. So for example, the Centre for Dairy Research, it's a very large working dairy farm that's based just south of the university. We also have the International Cocoa Quarantine Centre. So pretty much all the chocolate that comes into Europe tends to come through the University of Reading. We have an area just north of the university where we have our Crop Research Centre, where students again can run experiments. And we also have a large amount of greenhouses based on the main university site. So, for example, we recently had a student from Uganda who ran an experiment on maize crop. So they pumped varying amounts of carbon dioxide into that environment to see what the yield was and how it changed. And that also links into some of our sustainability research and credentials that I talked about a bit earlier. In terms of our School of Law, we do have leading subject areas and a large amount of different areas, but mainly focusing on international law and international corporate law. We have a wide range of LLM programs focusing in these areas, but also have our flagship LLB program that you can choose to combine with either international business or with criminology if you want to broaden your experience and study modules in a couple of different key areas. We do have one of the largest pro bono programs in England and Wales here at the University of Reading. And what this does is it links our students up with local NGOs or charitable organisations where they can get experience in giving legal advice, but also those charitable organisations can access legal advice that they wouldn't possibly normally be able to afford. I also wanted to highlight our Department of Food and Nutritional Sciences. We are third in the UK for food science and 27th in the world. Sorry, actually, that's a stat from a different slide. Apologies. But we are also highly ranked in our food and nutritional sciences courses. And we do have our food processing centre where students can get practical experience in developing food products. And we have a 95% employability rate out of our food and nutritional sciences programs after graduation. Just wanted to talk briefly about a couple of different university facilities before I pass over to my colleague to talk about the business school. So we have a large amount of accommodation that's available on the site. In fact, almost 5,000 rooms available on campus. As long as students apply by the 1st of August on the year they're intending to join us, and then also meet all those offer conditions by the end of August, then they're guaranteed a place in student accommodation for the first year of their degree program. For the vast majority of master's students, that's their whole degree program. And with undergraduate students, most will tend to move into local student houses after their first year, but there is usually quite a bit of space as well for their second and third year if they'd like to go back into student halls. Because we are a big campus university, most of our accommodation is either located on the campus or within a 10 to 15 minute walk of the main campus buildings. And we have a couple of different key areas where those student accommodations are based. They start at £159 a week, but then they do go up a bit from there, but it would depend on the type of accommodation that you're looking for. So the one you can see here is one of our single rooms with a shared bathroom facility, but you can also choose to have a double bed with an ensuite, and we do have a small amount of studio flats available as well. Students can also choose to either be catered or self-catered, and you can do this quite flexibly as well, even doing this by semester if you'd like to as well. In terms of our library, you saw an image of it a bit earlier at the start of the presentation, but we invested over 40 million in developing our library and refurbishing it back in 2019. This means there's a lot of state-of-the-art study spaces available in the library, and we have over 1 million different books, but over 4 floors as well. In term time, you can access the library for 24 hours a day, and there are also 24/7 online access availability to academic resources. So as part of your student experience here at Reading, you also have membership to a lot of academic journals, which are particularly useful when you're writing your final projects and dissertations. In terms of sports, if you're interested in these areas, we have a large sports park that's available just at the entrance of the campus. This is available at a subsidised rate to our students. I think it's around about £25 to £30 a month at the moment to access all facilities. So this would be a weight room, a cardio room. There's a large sports hall, lots of different fully air-conditioned studios. And with our outside space, there are a lot of different playing fields. So football pitches, rugby pitches, hockey pitches, American football pitches. There's a synthetic cricket wicket as well here at the university. And typically, if you're interested in a particular sport, there's probably an opportunity at the university either to play that sport for fun or fitness, or to try out for one of our teams as well and play competitively against universities in the local area. In terms of international student support, we offer all international and European students free courses to enhance their language and academic skills, which you take alongside your studies. But outside of this, there are also over 150 different sports clubs and other societies at the university. So I've mentioned sports already, but there are also hobby and interest societies, culture and faith societies. We have a large multi-faith chaplaincy here at the university, music societies, dance societies, lots of different ways for you to either continue a hobby, make a new hobby, or just make friends and enhance that student experience while you're studying with us. You can also book one-to-one appointments with careers consultants, academic tutors, and immigration advisors as often as you would like to. Segueing across into our careers support, I've put a few different couple of things up on the screen here, but what's often of most interest to students is that you can work part-time under the terms of your visa while you're studying with us. And we have a system called My Jobs Online where you can have a look at what's being advertised at the moment. This can range from more typical jobs like working in the bars and the restaurants on campus, but also more short-term projects like helping out with our alumni calling campaigns, being a student ambassador, so producing social media content to help promote at the university to other international students. We also have the Reading internship program, including such things as Europe, which is allowing you to take part in a real research program as an undergraduate student. And you can also access those career services for up to 2 years after graduation and up to 3 years for Henley Business School students as well. In terms of international foundation programs, so this will vary depending on your current background, but if you're holding a qualification that's not equivalent to UK A levels, then you might need to take an international foundation program before you join one of our undergraduate programs. Most of these are taught by the University of Reading for our IFP, so International Foundation Program. This has September and January intakes for some pathways, and you can also get 4-year degrees with integrated foundation availability for some programs as well. But if you're looking to join an art and design or a business undergraduate program and you need a foundation program, you'll need to do this through our partners at On Campus Reading. You can find them on Google, but it's all taught on the University of Reading campus before you would then enroll for a main University of Reading program after completing that. In terms of living costs and tuition fees, we generally tell students to have about £1,100 to £1,400 available to them per month, and this includes the cost of your accommodation as well. I know some of the Henley Business School programs fall slightly outside of this. It's always worth checking the website, but typically we split our undergraduate and postgraduate tuition fees into 2 bands. Band 1 being non-laboratory and workshop subjects, so typically arts and humanities where you're not using specialist equipment, and then our Band 2 programs, which are more science-based programs or workshop-based programs such as computer science, architecture, where you're using very specific equipment that requires additional maintenance and insurance. So these programs tend to be a little bit more expensive. In terms of scholarships, I wanted to talk about these in a little bit more detail, and I'm sure Vaishali will talk about the business school scholarships in her part of the presentation as well. But we have a number of different undergraduate scholarships available. The first of those is our Undergraduate Global Sustainability Scholarship. These are brand new for this year and designed for our top performing undergraduate students. So you'll be invited to make an application for these after you've submitted an application for the university. And we're typically looking for students to have achieved the equivalent of about 3 A's at their kind of high school studies. We're offering 300 awards for this particular year. And if you're awarded one of these global sustainability scholarships, you'll receive a cash payment of £6,000 per year of study to help with your living expenses. For our excellent scholarships, these are separate. So all students have the opportunity to apply for an excellent scholarship once you've received an offer from the University of Reading. And if these are awarded, then they're worth £4,000 per year of study, which is applied as a fee discount. In terms of master scholarships, we have a few different awards available. I'll let Vaishali talk about the Henley Business School part of this. But for most of the University of Reading, there are 2 tiers of awards available. These are either £10,000 or £5,000 as fee discounts if they're awarded, and they'll be automatically applied to students if you meet the criteria once you've made that application to the University of Reading. So typically you'll hear back within about 3 months of making your application if you have been awarded one of these master's scholarships. We also have a number of different other scholarships available at the University of Reading. So we have some International Foundation Programme country scholarships that are awarded automatically. We have the Ambassador Scholarship that students need to apply for. Again, I won't go through them all because there's a really big list here, but it gives you an idea that there is a wide range of scholarships that are available. Most of them are partial, so we typically don't offer full scholarships at the university. apart from those that are with our partner organisations such as Felix, Chevening or Commonwealth Shared Scholarship Schemes. In terms of entry requirements, it's difficult for me to list these all off for all the different countries that I know will be listening to this. But typically for undergraduate, if you qualify for direct entry, it's somewhere between AAB to BBB if you're taking A-levels, or 30 to 34 points if you're taking an international baccalaureate. If you're joining the foundation, again, it's going to vary, but typically it'll be your senior school certificate with 5 grades between A and C. In terms of our postgraduate programs, most of our degree programs will accept a second class lower, so a 2-2, but some premium degree programs will ask you to get a second class upper or a 2-1 qualification. But again, I'd double check the course pages for individual requirements, as some of them do vary, and some of our courses do require additional steps, such as an interview or a portfolio as well. So hopefully this has been informative. It's given you some general information about the university. I've put my contact details on here if you want to reach out. I can either answer the query myself or put you in touch with one of our relevant regional managers who specialise in your particular country or region. And I've also put some of our social handles on here as well. These are specifically managed by the international team and feature international content, such as our Instagram handle here and our Facebook handle. We always publicise information such as scholarship deadlines that are coming up and any opportunities that are available, as well as our student ambassadors posting video and pictorial content talking about their personal experience of studying at the university as well. And I'll pass over to my colleague Vaishali from the business school, and she can talk a little bit more about our business school programs. Thank you.
Thanks, Frankie. Well, once again, good afternoon and welcome everyone. I'm delighted that you could join us today. I am going to take a moment to just try and get my slide deck up. Give me a moment. Frankie, can you confirm if you're able to see the slides?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Hopefully it should be uploading. Okay, it is saying processing, so maybe it's going to take a couple of more minutes.
I guess in the meantime, it'd be good to know if there are any questions that have come in so far that we can help with while we're waiting for the slide deck to upload.
Yes, Franki, thank you for this. I was about to ask you the same thing. Thank you. I think we received a couple of questions in the meantime, but we are also selecting like how many of those questions that we will discuss here. So one question I need to ask you, this is about Henley Business School, they said international program in Europe. So is this something a student they can do after their post-study work, or how it works actually? And you said a student they can do it 2 to 3 years time. So is this something like university they have arrangement with the companies in Europe, and you can arrange that placement? How it works actually, if you just give us a bit more details about this.
Do you mean in terms of the support that's given post-graduation by the careers team?
Yes. No, I'm talking about this internship program. A student who complete their master's graduation from Henley Business School. You said those students they can have internship in Europe. So how it works actually?
Okay, I might get Vaishali answer that actually as our resident Henley Business School expert.
Yeah.
I think it's sure. I was just going to say, referring to the presentation Frankie just did, perhaps that was more in relevance to the undergraduate programs where there is opportunity usually for a study abroad year. In terms of the masters, I wouldn't say it's a 3 or a 4 year opportunity to study abroad, but it's more in terms of part of the program for a project, and I will be covering that in my slide deck. So if we can just hold that out in terms of the question for a bit, in terms of the master's side, undergraduate side, I think, Franki, if you wanted to step in and share anything from your end.
Sure. In terms of internships, most of our programs do have the opportunity to do an internship as part of them, whether or not that's part of the program itself or whether or not this is something that students choose to ask to do as part of a sandwich year. And the university is usually fairly open to that as well. In terms of finding placements, we don't typically find placements for students, but what we do is we try and facilitate students to have that contact with employers and to make those connections themselves. So we do have resident placement coordinators that will check the viability of those placements, make sure that they're appropriate, the students are going to get the correct level of experience for them. And I believe that we do in some program areas go and try and find some opportunities that students can apply for as well. But the vast majority of our students that do placements tend to find their own, whether or not that's through connections they've made on LinkedIn, whether or not that's through one of our career networking sessions. We have career fairs that focus on different academic areas that happen at different points in the year. For example, last week, I stumbled across the Health and Life Sciences career fair that was happening in the student union, where we had lots of employers that were coming to talk to students about graduate work opportunities. But these are also great opportunities for students to talk to them about placements as well. So yes, there are lots of opportunities to do that. And we do have those connections with local employers, but we more try to encourage the students to build those connections themselves, because of course that's going to be the most valuable skill that they learn, is how to network effectively and how to build those relationships as well. But all the students that do placements tend to find that they come back to the university very well prepared for their final year, and usually raring to go in the workplace, to be honest. I don't think they all want to come back after they've done a placement year and seen what it's like to work in their dream company. But often those students, if they do really well in their placements, might also get a job offer or have an advantage when it comes to making an application for a permanent role at that company post-graduation.
Thank you, Franki. Thank you for your details, answer. I think we can go ahead with Henley Business School presentation with Vishal. Then maybe we can get more details, answer about their facilities. And in the meantime, we have many more questions, and we can then ask you those questions to get answered. Thank you.
Thanks, Zahid. Okay, so starting off, well, let me just reintroduce myself. I am Vaishali Darbar, the Senior Regional Manager here at Henley Business School, which is part of University of Reading. So a lot of you over here today might be in your final year and looking to study this autumn, or you could be in your first and second year and still in the initial phase of research. So my purpose today for this session is to introduce you to Henley Business School and highlight how and why choosing Henley Business School will benefit you, not just for the year that you're going to be studying with us, but also for the rest of your journey. The focus will be on master's program, but if there are questions on about other areas, then I'd be happy to discuss them at the end of the presentation. Now, Henley is the pioneer of management education and is widely believed to be one of the first UK business schools. This photo in the background is of the first cohort arriving in Henley-on-Thames Greenland campus in 1945, which was when we were established. So talking about Henley Business School and its history and heritage, we were established as the Administrative Staff College in 1945 with an aim to bring the public and private sector employees together from across the country to promote exchange of ideas and to develop skills for future. And Henley has been doing this ever since. Henley's reputation is confirmed by its badges of quality, its triple accreditation, placing it among an elite group of worldwide business schools. If you, in terms of rankings, we are ranked in the top 10 in the UK in by whatever ranking or league table you choose. We're currently ranked number 7 in the UK, and we're one of the best in the real estate programs. We're ranked 5th in the UK for a Masters in Management and 6th in the UK for a Masters in Finance program, as per the Financial Times ranking. Our alumni network is one of the broadest, biggest, and offering you a broad area of potential networking with alumni spread across 160 countries. In terms of the support that's available, there's a broad range of support available, but one that I'd like to highlight today is the student mentoring program that we offer. So the benefits include, for our students, include a guidance from a professional in their desired field. Typically, this is our mentee-driven relationship where they work with the mentor. They meet the mentor every 4 to 8 weeks, and this is either through a face-to-face meeting if they're based in the UK, or virtually if they're based internationally through the Henley Live platform. The idea is that our students get constructive feedback on their ideas from industry experts, and also help them improve the breadth of their knowledge about the career and industry that they are looking to pursue after their masters. Talk a little bit about our portfolio of programs. Very quickly, this is a snapshot of all the programs that we offer. We offer 25 MSc programs across 5 subject areas. And I won't be talking in detail about every program I've listed here today, but I'll be happy to take questions if we've got audience who are interested in any particular program. And I'll be able to provide more details. But what I want to do is I want to focus right now on 2 key aspects. One is the professional accreditation and opportunity our students have as part of the program to apply what they learn. So very quickly, for our students, it is important that they get an opportunity to not just acquire the knowledge in classroom, but also learn how to apply the same theory in practice and test the skills and theory in safe spaces. So the way we go about doing this is by providing them opportunity in many forms, like providing international study trip in usually in a European destination, or for our finance students through the simulation experience that they get. We've got a dealing room with 100+ Bloomberg terminals and most updated softwares for them to use, so they get the thrill of the trading floor and help them understand the various jobs in the financial industry and how to go about dealing with them. It could be through opportunities like a breakfast with a CEO. The top left-hand corner picture is one of the examples where a student group won a competition and had the opportunity to have a breakfast with the CEO of Hyundai. There's also opportunities provided for guest lectures, seminars, networking sessions. Our entrepreneurship students have opportunity of pop-up startup boot camps that they can have access to. So a number of ways that our students get an opportunity to apply what they're learning. Now, many of our programs have been endorsed by professional bodies, and which means that you're guaranteed to be learning the latest and industry-approved skill and knowledge. So programs like the finance programs are endorsed by ICMA, CFA body. Our marketing program is endorsed by the Chartered Institute of Marketing, the HR management by CIPD, accounting programs by the likes of ACCA, and so on. I mentioned about the international study visit, and I'd like to talk a little bit more in detail about this. Also share some beautiful pictures of our students who have been on this trip. So the MSc Management students have been to France. As a part of the program, generally, these students, they're broken down into smaller groups. It's a group project. They visit one of the European destination of their choice. For example, the MSc Management student in this case went to France. When they go out to this European destination, they meet a number of companies. It's not just a typical student exchange program, but more of an opportunity to also connect with local businesses, understand the local market, of what it looks like, the challenges and the strategies that these companies face over there. It's an opportunity to have a deep understanding of that company, not just that company, but a number of companies that they are going to visit in a week's time. And at the end of the week, each group is presenting to the senior executives of the companies they've been assigned with a solution for the problem that they were given. So it helps the students not just to work on their research skill, having learned about the company and what they need to do for that company, but also work on consultancy skill, on their presentation skills, on team skills, team working skills. So there are many ways in which they are in a real life situation, working in teams and doing problem solving for real business issues. So that builds their confidence in the next step in their career, which is the jobs that they'll be in. Now, that's another beautiful few pictures of our students from the international business program who went to Turkey. Our marketing students went to Paris and Geneva in France and Switzerland. Some of the other programs like the HR management went to Malta. Some of the ICMA programs have the opportunity of going to Venice in Italy or Greece, Athens in Greece. Real estate programs also have some opportunity like Berlin, France. They happen usually over the summer term. So how does this approach really benefit our students? And I think this data really is a good example of how our students are benefited. If this is from a recently concluded survey, 95% of our students, or rather graduates, master graduates, secured employment or pursued further studies 12 months after their graduation. And here are some of the examples of where they've gone on to work. There's also evidence to indicate a good return on investment in financial terms. This chart shows the average salaries by subject areas, but to highlight that our finance and digital business students usually, are in a good position to command higher starting salaries. Our master's graduates go and work locally as well as internationally. And we understand that the job market globally is incredibly competitive, which is why Henley goes on an extra mile to create opportunities for students to gain an edge. A big part of this success is due to the support offered by the Henley Careers team, which is also ranked in the world top 20. The careers team work with students to help them build a career strategy, navigate the job market, or help them develop the skills and networking, which is so crucial in the UK job market. This support is also available 4 years after graduation. There's also support in terms of, bringing employers on campus for offering placement and internship opportunities. Many of our international graduates have launched careers in the UK, and here are some success stories. Now, all their experiences are different. They've each been in a different journey in finding their their next job. So we do encourage that the prospective students reach out to these students and help understand more about their journey, so they are better prepared when they come onto the program. In terms of admissions and scholarships, we typically require a 2:1 equivalent from your undergraduate degree, but some of our programs, especially those in the accounting and digital business, we do accept a 2:2 equivalent in your undergraduate degree. Our finance programs generally require a high level of quantitative background, which means that if you do not have sufficient modules within your degree, we may ask for a GMAT score. We've also recently introduced a Henley math test, which you can take, and if you meet the required score, then you do not need to provide a GMAT. Our IELTS requirement is we're looking for a 6.5 overall with no element less than 5.5, and we do offer English language waiver to students from some countries. As an example, if it's an approved VIAC results from West African countries, then we tend to accept that. For India, we accept a certain percentage in the English 12th from various boards, CBSE, ICSE, state boards. So you can ask us about this, if you want to know if you're going to be eligible for an exemption. Scholarships. So we've got over £2 million combined scholarship fund across Henley Business School. These are offered at 2 levels. We've got a range of £3,000 to £5,000 scholarship awarded as the Henley Business School Excellence Scholar Award. And then we've got in the range of £5,000 to £10,000 as the Henley Business School Excellent Scholar Dean's List Award. The process for this is very simple. If you've applied for the program and got an offer, you will be automatically considered and awarded for this. It's on a rolling basis. We started off awarding these in November, and they would conclude in July. Typically, the scholarship panels meet every month, and they go through all the students who've made an offer, and if they fall in the academic grade requirement that we're looking for, then they would be awarded the scholarship. So it is an academic merit-based scholarship. What is expected of you if you've been offered a scholarship? You must accept it within 4 weeks of the scholarship offer date. And pay the deposit. So that's what is expected of you. Apart from these scholarships that I've mentioned, the excellent scholarships, we've also got 2 specialist scholarships. One is for the real estate and planning program. So we've got real estate and real estate finance program, for which we've got combined full scholarship. It's mainly for the African students. It's called the 𝗟𝗡𝗏 scholarship, and it is offered in along with the Reading Real Estate Foundation. So this is a slightly different process than the Excellent Scholarship Award. This requires an application through me at Reading portal, and it is not offered on a rolling basis. Rather, there is a deadline date of 1st of May, after which the scholarship panels meet up to decide who would be awarded. But there are 4 full scholarships. For the finance, the specialist scholarship that we have is Women in Finance Scholarship. We've got 4 £5,000 scholarships. So anybody who's applying for one of our finance program and fall under this category will be also considered for the Women in Finance scholarship. Apart from it, there's also alumni discount. This year we've increased it to 20%. Typically, you can combine the alumni discount with our scholarships. However, you will not be able to combine a Henley scholarship with one of the University of Reading scholarship. So that really brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you, Vidish. Thank you for your nice presentation. with many information regarding scholarship entry requirement, and also some good news for the Indian and African students for some English exemption that you mentioned. You are accepting some qualification from Indian board and African board, where student they might apply for the English exemption. And for the scholarship, actually, we have many questions that my colleague 𝗟𝗩𝗘, he can put one by one in display. But let's ask you some question that I received from my side. One of the question that they ask about the scholarship, I know that you mentioned about Global Excellence Scholarship, then other 5,000, 10,000 scholarship, some academic merit-based scholarship. So the question that we received is combined scholarship. So if any student apply for Global Access Scholarship and is awarded, and in addition, if they receive academic-based merit scholarship, can they combine both scholarship, or they need to choose one of two?
Okay, so just to clarify, these are academic. The Excellent Scholars Awards are academic merit based. They are not two separate ones. The only difference is the category of award, which is either between £3,000 to £5,000, or then between £5,000 to £10,000. So there's just one scholarship scheme, which is the Excellent Scholarship Scheme. This is apart from the two specific specialist scholarships that I spoke about for real estate and the finance ICMA programs. But yeah, they are all academic merit based, and there's no separate application generally required. As soon as you've applied for the program and been made an offer, you will be considered automatically if you have got good grades, and if you meet certain criteria on that front.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this. I think the answer is now clear. So another question regarding the accommodation that you mentioned, you have about 5,000 accommodation capacity, 5,000 students, and you have about 27,500 students altogether, where we can see 4,500 is your international students. And we also know that most of the international students, they might need that accommodation facilities as a local student, they might have their own accommodation. So for the international student, is there anything like postgraduate student, they need to apply within a deadline? But what about UG student? Is this something like they are on priority, or just both postgraduate and undergraduate student, they can apply at any time for the accommodation?
So we guarantee
prioritize.
Sure. So we guarantee a place in accommodation to all students in their first year. So as long as you meet the relevant application deadlines. So students can only apply for accommodation once we're their firm choice. So for postgraduate students, that's when they've accepted their offer. And for undergraduate students, it's when they've made us their firm choice on UCAS. At that point, they can make an application for accommodation. Students, they make 5 choices in order of preference. We'll try and accommodate as much as we can, obviously depending on the availability at that time. But we also have single-sex accommodation. For example, we have quieter accommodation, postgraduate accommodation for students who maybe don't want to party as much as some of the undergraduate students might want to in their first year. But as long as they make an application for accommodation by the 1st of August, and they have fulfilled all of their offer conditions by the end of August, they're guaranteed that place for the first year. In second year, the vast majority of our students move into shared houses with their friends. Again, we don't have a huge accommodation shortage in Reading. There are a large amount of student houses that are just south of the university, about a 10-minute walk away. But students, if they want to, they can reapply to go back into halls in their second and third year. We just can't guarantee that place. But as long as they make an early application, there are usually enough rooms. We just can't guarantee it to them. But for the first year they get here, when it's the most difficult to source appropriate accommodation, as long as they meet the relevant application deadlines, everyone is guaranteed a place in accommodation.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So for the first year, you can guarantee accommodation for all first year students, regardless of their international or local home students, right?
Yes, that's right. As long as they meet the application deadlines.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for this. And another question that I have in my table is about global sustainability undergraduate program scholarship that you mentioned. The student, they can get £6,000 scholarship per year. So is this like every year they are getting once you approve their application, or how it works?
Exactly, yes. So it's just for undergraduate students, and it's invitation only. So typically when students have made that application for UCAS, we'll have a look at their predicted grades. And if they're predicted to get very high grades, like A star AA or AAA, AAB, then we will invite them to make an application for the Global Sustainability Excellence Scholarship. So it's a short online form. They basically just give us their kind of course details and also answer a few short questions on their interest in sustainability and any experience that they have in promoting sustainability aims as well.
Okay.
If they're awarded this and they then subsequently join the university, once they've enrolled in that September, we'll be splitting that £6,000 per year into 2 installments. So they'd get a £3,000 cash payment into their account once they've enrolled in the September, October, and then they'd receive the other installments after the start of the spring semester in February. And that would repeat for every year they were at the university. So it's designed to help with living expenses, but it can't be used to offset fees, really, just because it's not paid until they're enrolled at the university.
So that's good idea. So that means the student they can access to £6,000 cash every year. So what about for those students who is studying foundation and progressing from foundation to undergraduate program? Because the way that you explained is about the student who apply through UCAS and maybe they are expecting good result on their A levels. So what if a student they are studying foundation and they are progressing to the main program? Will they get access to the same facilities, or they have some different arrangement you have?
They can still do it, but it has to be partway through their foundation year. So they can't make the application until they know what those final grades are going to be. So we would still look at students who are studying a foundation program, and we'd again look at students who are going to receive really high grades in that foundation program. They just can't make that application until they're already in the foundation program. So it's for students that are progressing to the next year. So we couldn't make an offer based on their GCSE or senior school certificate equivalency. For example, it would need to be once they were already in the foundation and they had an idea about what grades they were going to receive. But yes, it's still available to them. They just can't make that application until they're going to join us within the next year.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is the last question regarding scholarship that we chose from the number of questions that you received. This is about your foundation scholarship that you mentioned. You have some country-specific scholarship for the foundation students. So how you define and how can you clarify about this, like country-specific? Is this something automatic that the student they are getting, or they just need to apply? And second question on it is related question is, if any country is not in your list, country specific scholarship for the foundation, so what other way they can apply for the scholarship, or if they can access any further scholarship or not?
Sure, no problem. So we have 2 different types of scholarships for the International Foundation Programme, and this is just for the Reading Run Foundation Programme, not the one run by CEG. But for the International Foundation Programme, if students are from certain countries that typically come to the University of Reading, so for example, we have a Nigeria discount, we have ones for most of the Middle Eastern countries and some of the select countries where students tend to come and study foundation at the university, those students would receive a £2,000 automatic country discount. For the rest of the students, and including those students actually from the other countries, they can apply for an IFP ambassador scholarship. So this is where they make an application for that particular scholarship. And those students typically help us with promoting the university. They might help produce social media content, write blog posts in order to tell students about life at the university. And in return from this, they receive a £3,000 discount from their fees. But for that, students need to make an application for it. But for those students that are eligible for the country discount, then that's an automatic discount off their fees. I have to say it is only for this year at the moment. It might be different next year. I think it's likely to change slightly. But for this year, so students looking to join us in September, then this will be what the current structure is. So it would be a £2,000 automatic country discount for those students from those select countries. And all students would have the opportunity to apply for that £3,000 ambassador scholarship, either in addition or instead of one of those country discounts.
Again, these questions comes from my side. So if a student, they are eligible as a country discount, and again, they apply for the ambassador scholarship, so they can combine both the scholarship, or they need to take one of those?
They can do
combine. Okay. Okay, thank you, Franki, for your nice answer. I think the students, so they are our parents, they got the answer about the scholarship, and I'm asking my colleague Imtiaz if he can show other questions that he received from his sir.
Okay, so we have a few questions from Facebook and Instagram. So Mr. 𝗟𝗜𝗩𝗘, he's asking academic requirement for UG program, or do you consider Bangla medium students for UG program at your STEAM institutions? How many years of study gap University of Reading consider for UG program? So mainly for the UG program academic requirement. Yeah.
Sure, no problem. I'd have to have a quick look in the background actually with regards to the Bangladesh requirements. I don't know them off the top of my head, so I have to have a look. But in terms of study gap, this isn't typically a problem at the university. We don't have a set requirement in terms of study gap, and in fact, it's actually quite typical in the UK for students to take what we call a gap year. So students might go and do something else for a year. They might work in industry. They might go traveling. So study gaps aren't viewed as negatively as they can be in other markets in the UK, as long as a student can articulate what they've been doing in that time, how it's advanced them when they're writing their personal statement, then typically that's not a problem at the university. You just have to address that in your personal statement, and some students might even choose to submit a CV alongside as supporting evidence just to talk about what they've been doing in that study gap. But let me just have a quick look in the background, let you move on to the next question to see what our Bangladesh requirements are for undergraduate.
Okay, no problem. The question is, can Pakistani students apply for UG courses directly? Diploma students can apply for UG. So the Pakistani students can apply for the UG directly, or they need any foundation program.
Okay, again, I'll double check that at the same time, if that's okay. Unless you know, Vaishali.
No, yeah. What about the turnaround time for UG offer letter normally?
That's specifically for UG. Oh, Vaishali, we can't. You're on mute.
She's on mute, I think.
Okay, I just realized I was talking, but I just realized I was on mute. Okay, for Pakistan, I'm going to say that if you've got generally a higher secondary school certificate with a minimum grade of 70%, then you'd be looking at the International Foundation Program. I mean, the other bit is that if you've got 60% or no 70% or more, then you could look at the AAA to BBB program, I think, and anything under that is the International Foundation Program. But Frankie, if you can confirm that.
Yeah, I've just checked in the background actually, and apologies, we look after a lot of countries, so sometimes we have to go and double check to make sure we're giving the right information. But both of students from Bangladesh and Pakistan with a high school certificate would require an International Foundation Program, although Vaishali is quite right in that it would be 70% actually from both of those countries. You need 70% in that high school certificate to then join an International Foundation Program. But it's worth noting that undergraduate degrees in the UK are only 3 years, so you'd actually be studying for 4 years total. With your foundation and your undergraduate program.
Yeah. Thank you. Does University of Reading accepting the OITC as the English requirement?
So this is like Oxford International English Test they are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I believe we do actually, but again, let me just quickly double check this for you, simply because it's not a typical qualification that we tend to see. Most students tend to come to us with IELTS examinations, or they come to us with Pearson Academic or Duolingo. So
Duolingo, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes. I can't see it listed. English tests, but I can't see the Oxford one listed. Maybe that's something for us to double check and get back to the student. afterwards once you've got a little bit more information. So in terms of this question, so obviously Dennis asked, my final year result isn't published yet. Can I apply? Yes, you don't have to have your final results yet to make an application to the university. So what we typically do then is issue what's called a conditional offer. So if your predicted grade or your grade so far indicated that you were going to meet our entry requirements, we'd say, okay, we can give you an offer, but it's conditional on you achieving this particular GPA. Then at the point when you received your final grades and your final certificate transcript, you then send it across to us at the university. We'd verify it and then confirm your place at that point. So yes, you can still make an application, and we definitely encourage people to make an application earlier just to make sure that you do secure a place. You just wouldn't be able to fully confirm it or issue a CAS, for example, until after we'd received all your final documentation.
Yeah, thank you. And one specific question to Henley Business School, that is for fintech study at Henley School. Do you require any portfolio for master's program?
No, we don't require any portfolio. Typically, students who have just finished the undergraduate degree are able to join this program. So we do not require any work experience or any experience within that area at all previously. So you're able to join. The bit that we might expect of you is that you're keeping yourself up to date in terms of the technology side, what sort of softwares, etc., are available in the market space. But it isn't something that necessarily you need to have knowledge about in terms of the programming or any other side of it. You may be using, for example, Python, but you don't need to know how to code in Python, but you need to be aware about its existence, of how it's being used in the industry. Some case studies, if you'd read about how some companies might have developed things, especially in this era where we're having so many digital currencies, having an understanding about all of that, it would be an advantage.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much. I think we are almost ending today. We have only a few minutes left. And before that, we'll take questions from David. Just before that, one question to Franki, because we know that School of Agriculture at University of Reading, you are third in the UK and the global ranking 27. So keeping this in mind, as we have some special scholarship for the Henley Business School, do you have something special for agriculture school?
It's actually all combined together now. So previously we had school-specific scholarships, and we also had more general specific scholarships that were administered by my team. What we decided to do this year to make it, I guess, simpler for students, and it's the same for Henley Business School as well, actually, is combine all of our scholarship lots all together. So now students don't have to make individual applications to loads of different places. It's a case of, if they make that, we'll have a look at them and we'll see how much of that scholarship we can award. So previously, last year, a student might have applied for a £5,000 scholarship, like a general scholarship, and then a £5,000 agriculture scholarship, whereas now we'll just consider them automatically. So if they're a very strong student, then they could be awarded a £10,000 scholarship that would actually combine the two. So I guess the answer is yes and no. It's not a specific scholarship, but we've put all of our funding pot together. And if they're a really strong student with a really good background in agriculture, they might be awarded what we call one of our elite scholarships that would be the equivalent of those two scholarships combined together.
So for at that case, what is the process of applying those scholarships? Can they do something through us, or we can communicate with you if any student that we can see they are exceptional or outstanding result they have, then we can advise them to apply for this kind of scholarship, and at that case they can maybe combine 5+5 for this agriculture student.
It's just automatic. So we assess all students automatically after they've made an application to the university.
So they do not need to make any. They do not need to make any application for that.
No, it's different for undergraduate. So undergraduate students do need to apply for their two scholarship schemes, but for postgraduate, it's all automatic consideration. So the student doesn't need to do anything.
Okay. Thank you for this. I think we have one more questions from David. Imtiaz, if you can add it.
Yeah, Mr. David was asking what's the initial deposit to get the CAS for Henley Business School, and is there any installment payment after enrollment?
So it is the same as rest of the university in terms of the deposit policy. The only bit I was going to say is that there are some exceptions in terms of a few countries that we require a 50% fee payment before we issue the CAS. So if I have to tell, that would be Nigeria, Ghana, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So these are the countries from which we need a 50% fee payment upfront before the CAS is issued. The remaining will be in the second term. In terms of the installment, usually students are required to pay 50% of fees anyway upon enrollment in September, and the remaining 50% in somewhere around January.
It's worth saying, though, that if a student applies through one of our registered agent partners like Shabuj Global, then because Shabuj does that initial verification check with the student would then only be required to pay a £2,000 deposit. So students applying independently outside of an agency in those countries that Vaishali mentioned would need to pay that 50%. But for students applying through Shabuj and other agent partners, it would be £2,000. But they would still need to make it up to that 50% on enrollment at the university. And then typically most students would then pay the final installment before the start of the spring semester in February. On a case-by-case basis, some students can split that into two, but it is only with particular need and with prior permission from our credit control department. So we usually say to students, it really is 2 installments that you need to pay your fees in per year. But as I said, the deposit requirement is slightly lower for those deemed to be high-risk countries by UKVI if you're applying through one of our agent partners like Shabuj Global.
Thank you, Franki. Thank you very much. Even I didn't know that we have, and I can take it as very big responsibility. But again, yes, you all said we assess our students, and until we are 100% confirmed that the student is credible and genuine, we are not actually going ahead with their applications. So thank you for this flexibility for our students, and I hope our students they will utilize this opportunity, especially students who are facing some difficulties transferring money from their country to UK initially, like Nigeria, like Bangladesh, I can say, or Pakistan. I think they can take this opportunity. Thank you for this, and we can sum up before we are saying we are going to end.
Can you take the one last question?
Yes, please. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Frankie. Does reading refuse students with previous visa refusal CAS? I think maybe the visa refusal or the CAS interview refusal, something she's trying to mean.
Sure. To be honest, this is a really hard one for me to answer because we're not visa specialists, so we're not part of the immigration team. So I probably really couldn't answer that, to be honest, at this point. I have to say we don't typically do pre-CAS interviews at Reading, although I think it is something that we're planning to bring in for certain countries over the next 12 months. But in terms of students that actually have visa refusals, that really would be down to our visa and immigration team if they're able to do that. So if you email immigration@reading.ac.uk and ask that question, then they should be able to let you know what our current stance is at the university.
Okay, thank you very much.
So thank you for being with us today, and just to the viewers, because this social media live, it's available. This is recorded, and they can access anytime through our social media platform, including Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And also, I can summarize something that we discussed today. Importantly, entry requirement for different regions, where we are covering today for African region and South Asia especially. And for the entry for the scholarship that you can see, student they can access to up to £10,000 scholarship for the PG, and they can get £6,000 cash every year for the UG student. I think this is very good news for the UG undergraduate students. They can get 6,000 every year, not for the 1 year. And for the foundation student, they can combine both their country specific scholarship, in addition their ambassador scholarship of £3,000. So they can combine 3 plus 2, or they can get 1. And for the agriculture students, they can be considered like merit based. They can access maximum of scholarship if they have very good qualification. And for the deposit, that university require 50% deposit for the cost letter, and remaining 50% they can get a scholarship. Again, they are required to pay in next one semester. However, case by case, they might get extension with a prior approval from the finance team, my understanding. However, for the Shabuj Global students or their trusted partner student, they can pay £2,000 initial deposit for the cost letter, and the remaining payment towards 50% of their tuition fees they can pay during their enrollment. And last one, that alumni discount, they have 20% alumni discount. And this is something I think student they can utilize. And for the academic entry requirement, you can see for the Bangladesh, Pakistan, mostly student, they need to have 70% mark for their higher secondary to get access to foundation program, because the university, they are offering 3-year undergraduate program. So they need to combine 3+2 altogether 4 years, including foundation. And student, they have A-level equivalent qualification in certain marks and result, and they can access to the direct entry. So this is all about that we learned today. And obviously for the English exemption, some West African universities qualification and Indian some board qualification with certain level of marks on English and academic qualification, they can apply for the English exemption. I think this is something different that we learned today. And in terms of other listed English requirement that the English qualification they accept, I know that Duolingo, they are accepting IELTS, they are accepting Pearson Academic, they are accepting, and we will get you back because some students they ask about Oxford International Test. So we will come back to them once we hear back from the university with that answer. Then we will email that student about whether you are accepting YTC or not. So thank you, Franki. Thank you, Vaishali and other colleagues. Thank you, Imtiaz. And looking forward to working together, and hope to see you again before the September, because today we are generating lists, and a number of queries that we received today, we will be working together. And if we need anything further, we'll come back to you, and we hope to arrange another social media live with your team before September, which will be called as conversion event. Thank you everyone. Thank you, audience.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining. Bye.